What is going on, everyone? We are back with some more NBA playoffs. Wow, the game tonight was fucking insane. I am not gonna lie. That was one of the best games of the playoffs for sure. We saw the Dallas Mavericks take care of business at home to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Congrats to the Dallas Mavericks, man. I think everyone after last season thought Luka was gonna ask out, or everyone just thought they were cooked. Let's be honest. Kyrie Irving came over. They were well in the playoff race and they fell out. They fell all the way down to the 10 seed with Kyrie Irving. I think everyone thought they were cooked. Everyone thought Kyrie was going to be a snake and not come back. But Kyrie came back. They were solid at the beginning of the year. They trade away guys like Grant Williams and Seth Curry. I thought Seth Curry was a baller. I mean, not this year, but in the past, Seth Curry was a baller. And they go and get guys like PJ Washington. They draft Derek Lively. And here they are back in the Western Conference Finals, man. Second time in the last 3 years. Congrats to Dallas, man. Like, as much as I hate the Cowboys, you got to respect the hell out of the Mavericks, man. What a what a job they have done this year, and like just in general, like bringing like this off season, man. Everyone thought they sucked this off season, but they had a vision. They had a vision. Mark Cuban and those guys, they had a vision. So yeah, also fantastic season by the Thunder as well. Congrats to the Thunder on a fantastic season. I know it ends in disappointment getting out in the second round, but that team has a very, very, very bright future. You got guys like Shea, who absolutely performed like an MVP tonight. J Dub, who's going to be a fantastic Robin going forward. Chet, who's going to be one of the best defensive players in the NBA and a fantastic offensive player as well. They just got so many guys, and they are going to be good for a very, very long time. And they will continue to get better in the postseason. This is their first ever postseason run. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the Thunder do from here, man. But congrats to them on a fantastic season, and congrats to Dallas. Let's get right into this epic game 6, man. This game was straight heat. I'm not gonna lie. It looked like at halftime, and even at the end of the third, it was like OKC was up 10. I mean, they were up 10 like the whole game, man. Like they were controlling the game pretty much. But then halfway through the third, Dallas starts to chip in a little bit and gets it down to 9. So it's like there's a sliver of hope. And they cooked in that fourth quarter, man. Dallas was on in that fourth. Like, my God. Everything was clicking, man. Everything was clicking from Dallas. And OKC just couldn't get the stops that they needed down the stretch. I mean, like, they went down one, but then they came back and then they went up one. And or they were up one, yeah, with like in the last possession. And it looks like after an insane pass from Shea, straight to Chet, who just slams that shit down. Like that was an awesome play. But then last possession, they fouled PJ Washington on the three. I mean, if I'm the refs, I don't know if you call that. It was a foul, let's be honest. But like you want to end this game on a foul. But like it was a foul. So I mean, it is what it is, kind of. Yeah, let's talk about the Thunder. Chet Holmgren, he was in his bag. I mean, offensively, outside of shooting the three, this dude has been fucking terrible shooting the three in the playoffs. We're gonna look to see improvement out of that on that next year and years going forward, like more consistency from three from Chet, because that's what the Thunder need. If this guy drills one more three, we're going to game 7. But nah, he goes 1 for 7 from three. J Dub, solid game from J Dub. Yeah, you can't really fault any of the big three for the Thunder outside of maybe Chet, like for bricking a couple threes in there. But yeah, J Dub was in his bag. I mean, close to a triple double for J Dub. That is impressive for a guy like J Dub. Yeah, can't fault J Dub. He was in his bag. Had a couple big buckets down the stretch as well, which is cool to see for a young guy like that. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in this game, he just proved why he was one of the top 3 MVP candidates. I mean, he was in his bag tonight. Like that three when they were down 5 to get it to 2 or whatever, that was insane. That was fucking wild, dude. That was one of the greatest shots I've seen in this postseason. Like that and the Nemhard three, like those are the shots that come to mind. Oh my God. Like that, like Shea just proved why it was like an MVP. Just right there, then and there. It was like, yeah, this guy's the MVP. He's one of the MVP candidates. Like, that's what he does. I mean, he was in his bag. Isaiah Joe, also a solid night from Isaiah Joe. Like shooting 3 from 4 from three, 4 for 7 from the field. That's not bad for a guy like Isaiah Joe. Lou Dort, I thought defensively he was solid and he gave a lot of effort, but just continued to shoot poor in this series. And I think that was something that cost them. It's just like poor shooting, poor shooting from three outside of guys like Shea, J Dub, and Isaiah Joe. Like that really cost them is that no one outside of those three could really hit a 3-pointer tonight. And it was like, it's not good. It was not good. But yeah, Lou Dort, he tried his best against Luka, man. I mean, you could tell he was giving it his all, but he was also in foul trouble, so you had to watch out. And if I recall, he had to sit him a big period in the fourth, which is when the Mavericks came back. And that really hurt them, was Dort going out of the game because Lucas started cooking. He drained a step back three and he drained a mid range as well. I mean, they got cooking. Jay Will, I mean, he was okay. He hit a big three there in the fourth. He got a dunk there. All of his points were in the fourth, I'm pretty sure. Outside of maybe the free throw. But yeah, all of his buckets were in the fourth. Had a dunk, had a three. Jay Will was cooking in the fourth. But I mean, he's a minus 14 because he was subbing in for guys like Chet. And like, it's like, I mean, he was good in the fourth, but it just wasn't enough. Then you got Giddy. This guy continued. I know he was +2, but this guy's just fucking terrible. If there's one guy, like I would say a lot of the guys in the Thunder have promise, and I would hold on to them. But if there's like one guy that you just want to dump this offseason, it's Josh Giddy. This guy continues to suck. I mean, he's fucking terrible, man. Like he's literally Ben Simmons. I say it every time I talk about Josh Giddy, but he has not improved one bit since his first fucking year. Like, dump this guy while he's still got some value, I would say. Carson Wallace, I mean, he played a lot of minutes, was not a minus, so that's good. Good for him. But I mean, the Thunder, it really came down to they could not get a stop on defense late. Like the Mavs were just cooking late in the fourth quarter. And I mean, they couldn't get whether they were fouling a dude or yeah. But there also went a big period in the third where they just didn't get a field goal as well. They didn't really show it on the broadcast, but there was like a 4-minute period where the Thunder only had like free throws. They didn't score like a single field goal. It just felt like an eternity. And that's when the Mavericks really started to get some life. But yeah, hell of a season for the Thunder. They'll come back next year and be strong again. They could come back and beat Dallas next year. Who knows? It depends on like what these teams do in the offseason. If I were the Thunder this offseason, you're dumping Josh Giddey. Other than that, you want to keep all these young guys. Like there's not a single guy in the starting five that I would let go if I were the Thunder. And then I bring back Jay Will as well. Aaron Wiggins as well. I mean, he had a good impact in the postseason as well. But yeah, Thunder should keep this core together, minus Josh Giddey. Let that loser go. Let that loser go rot in fucking Detroit. No offense to Detroit, but y'all aren't doing too hot right now. Or let him go rot in Portland. Like he just fucking sucks, dude. And he's like he's a Simmons caliber player. Like let him go rot in a low market where he'll be forgotten about in a year or two. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to but good season for OKC. A+ season. They're ahead of schedule. Moving on to the winners, the Dallas Mavericks. PJ Washington. This guy stunk outside of the fourth. But what quarter won the Mavs the game? The fourth. This guy came alive. It's like this guy has a knack for the postseason. He was cooking in the fourth. He drains the three, hits those big free throws. He didn't pull. He got traded for Grant Williams. You know what Grant Williams did when he had free throws to win the game? He said he was making both and proceeded to brick them both. PJ Washington drilled his 2 free throws. I know they bounced around the rim, but still, he was in his bag. And then smart play by the Mavs and Jason Kidd to intentionally miss the third one, like because that just drained more time off the clock. So they had to chuck up a prayer. So yeah, PJ Washington probably had his worst game of the series here, but he still delivered when it mattered most. unlike Grant Williams, who said he was going to make 2 free throws and proceeded to miss them both. So yeah, all of that. PJ Washington trade was a home run for the Mavs. Like so far, oh my God. Derek Jones Jr. This guy continues to get better and better each game. He dropped 18, then 19, now 22. Are you kidding me? He was huge down the stretch, I feel like. That one shot to put them up 5, that fucking fadeaway, I thought that was going to be an air ball, and he drills it nothing but net. Like, that was insane. Like, shout out Derek Jones Jr., man. He started the series like awful. Like 1 for 9 from 3 at one point, or like 1 for 7, like Chet numbers tonight. But like he has really found himself in this series. Like he really found himself and he was in his bag. You get on to Gafford. Gafford was okay. Actually, I take it all back. Gafford was terrible tonight, man. Like he also got hurt as well. So I mean, like Gafford's value got limited, but like, yeah, Gafford was a minus 25. He was not the key to success in the Mavs game. Hence why he was sitting on the bench at the end of the game instead of in. But like he got hurt. I hope that dude's good because I mean, against Minnesota or Denver, this guy's going to have a good series if the Mavericks want to go to the finals. So you're going to need Gafford going forward. But yeah, Gafford was elite early in the series, but I feel like in these last few games, he's been the second best center on the team. Kyrie Irving, this is another guy beginning of the game. He was doing awful. And they were talking about this dude's like undefeated in closeout games, and he was just doing shit. Like he was terrible. He shot like 2 shots, like for the first, or like, and it was a significant period of game gone, and he had shot like no shots at all, and like it was like I think it was like his worst half of the playoffs so far, and everyone was like, "Where the fuck is this guy? He is Mr. Closeout game." And he pulled up in the fourth, man. Like he was in his bag in the fourth. He hit some tough shots. I mean, this guy, Kyrie Irving, I got to give a lot of credit to him. I thought everyone said this guy was the biggest cancer in the NBA. And I thought that as well because you look like I feel like he left Cleveland from LeBron. He left LeBron in Cleveland. He went to Boston. That place was so toxic when he's there. Fans were chanting "fuck Kyrie" when he returned. And then like he single-handedly blows up Brooklyn pretty much, or he helps blow up Brooklyn. He requests a trade. I mean, this guy there were times when he would just leave the team. Like, I mean, like the dude was a total nut job in fucking Brooklyn. And I mean, everyone thought of him as this big cancer. And then it turned out Brooklyn was just a poverty franchise. He comes to Dallas. The second he comes there, they start losing. Like, I mean, they dropped from like the 5th seed or 6th seed to the 10th seed. Like they missed the playoffs. Everyone thought Kyrie was going to be toxic and go join the Lakers or go join the Suns. No, the Mavericks ink him to a big deal. Everyone is like, what are you doing? You can't trust this guy. But yes, you can. I don't know what he did. I don't know. I don't know what happened with Kyrie. I'm gonna be honest. But he's been locked in this season. He's been committed. And it looks like it's like now it's like the world is back on Kyrie's side, man. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm happy for Kyrie. Everyone thought he was a cancer, and he proved us all wrong. Still waiting for James Harden to do that, though. But yeah, shout out to Kyrie, man. He pulled up in this fourth. He proved why he's Mr. Closeout game. He was in his bag. Luka Doncic was also fantastic this game. It was not his best game of the postseason or this series, but like it was far from his worst. It was one of his better games. Triple double from Luka. I mean, 10 assists. However, if I have one gripe with Luka this game, it's those 7 turnovers, man. You can't. Those numbers are only you got to be more careful with the ball if you're playing Minnesota, especially Minnesota, man. They are gonna hound the shit out of Luka if they end up playing Minnesota. Even Denver, they're a good defense too, because Denver will make you pay on those turnovers. So if it's one gripe with Luka, it's the turnovers. But still, fantastic game. He threw some dots out there. He was hitting guys wide open. He was clutch in that comeback. Like he was huge in getting that comeback, that step back 3, that mid range game. I mean, he was huge. There were times I felt like he was working the refs a little bit too much, but Luka was in his bag tonight for the most part. Give Luka an A plus or an A in this A plus for Luca in this game. I mean, this was by far one of his better games. So shout out Luca. Tim Hardaway Jr. continues to be a nobody in this playoff series. I'm just gonna say he was a nobody in this playoff series. Like there was maybe one game where he scored more than 10 points. Like, what's going on with this guy? Wasn't this guy in six man of the year conversations at some point this season? And now he's like a nobody. Like 6 minutes a game. I'm sorry. I ate a lot tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I need to gulp and I needed a little gulp there. But yeah, this guy's been a nobody in this series. Like, yeah, if he could be a guy that could be huge in the next series, but at the same time, he could suck. Like Jason Kidd being smart, he's having a short leash with this guy. Like, I mean, he doesn't play defense, and like when he's not scoring, he really doesn't add anything. So I mean, that's exactly what he's doing. He's like a worse version of Malik, more inconsistent version of Malik Monk. But yeah, he's been a nobody in this series. Like, what's going on with Tim Hardaway Jr.? But the guy who was a stud off the bench was Derek Lively. Man, they drafted this guy, and he is like a game changer for the Mavs, man. Like 12 points, 2 for 3 from the free throw. Look at all these rebounds, 15 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. Like, come on, this guy was stuffing the stat sheet, man. Like, and like you couldn't take him off the floor. Like, I bet next year, this maybe even in the fucking Nuggets series or Timberwolves series, this guy could be starting. Like, I mean, he is good. He just racks up fouls really quick, which is why they some that why that's probably why they start Gafford, if I'm gonna be honest, because he doesn't rack up the fouls like Lively can. But once this guy gets a better whistle, like, and he just becomes, I would just say, a smarter defender. He's a good defender now, don't get me wrong, but just not jumping on so much stuff or anything like that. He is going to be a fantastic player. Like, I bet he's going to be like one of these role player centers that are just like, so he could be like the next Steven Adams or something like that, or like one of these guys like like a Wilson or Tyson Chandler for like the Mets or something like that. He could be one of these guys that's just like, he's just one of the consistent starters on the team that's just like grabs a bunch of board, like a Valanciunas type guy, maybe. Who knows? Josh Green, I mean, he was solid. The role players here, I mean, they didn't really have that big of an impact. I mean, they were -9, -15. It was really the starters who won you this game and Derek Lively, man. Like those guys, shout out to the Mavericks, man. They were in their bag. Like they've been in their bag. They're in their bag now. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do in the conference finals. I mean, I still think Denver or Minnesota is going to win that series, but like these guys could shock some people. I'm not going to lie. Like I could see them going. There is a chance they could go to the NBA finals. I mean, I don't think they can beat Boston because I mean, let's face it. I think in the East, it's a no contest. Boston's going to the NBA Finals. But I think these guys can give Denver and Minnesota a serious run for their money, especially a team like Denver. I feel like Minnesota's defense is just could frustrate Luca, and then they got the big man defense as well. So you're not going to see as big of an impact from Lively. Like Minnesota is a worse matchup for Dallas, in my opinion, just because the sheer hounding on the defense that they're going to do. Granted, Dallas is a good defensive team now, too. That was the thing. Early, Dallas used to always be one of the worst defensive teams, but now they actually have defense. And it's like they can hide Luca, and Kyrie's bought into the defensive scheme. Shout out Kyrie. I mean, shout out all the Mavericks, man. Like, but yeah, I would definitely want to play the Nuggets if I were the Mavs, just because going to get up against that T-Wolves defense might prove to be troublesome for a guy like Luca. Like, because Luca, I mean, let's tell it how it is. Luca can foul bait from time to time, and like the Timberwolves play hard, clean defense. So I mean, and they're gonna double Luca, and they're gonna be swatting at him and stuff like that. I think the Nuggets, although I would say they're a more talented team, I think the Mavericks match up better against them. But shout out Dallas for punching their ticket now, getting a few extra days rest, and if they were to lose this game, they wouldn't have gotten those days rest in hell. They could have went home because OKC, that's a tough place to play in. But shout out Dallas, man. I think that's all I got for today. Yeah, I'm just a yapper who don't know ball. Peace.